I'm not a fan of hers at all, and I think she's very disrespectful to the Queen that we just spoke about, who's such a great woman, who's such a great person.
Here are 13 times Meghan disrespected the Queen without a second thought. And do not skip number 10, because that one was so bold it left the entire palace speechless. You have probably seen this one. This is one of the greatest shows of disrespect to the Queen in their Netflix documentary, which was released shortly after the Queen's death. Meghan openly mocked the very tradition that symbolizes respect for the Queen, which is the curtsy. To make it worse, Harry was there smiling like a controlled figure, and he seemed happy seeing Meghan mock a tradition that he had known all his life. There was nothing he could do. No wonder Princess Camilla implied that Meghan had brainwashed Harry and that he was now a puppet that only needed to be controlled by the puppet master. Many viewed the gesture by Meghan as mocking the Queen and royal protocol.
Now I'm starting to realize this is a big deal. I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Like, was that okay?
Queen Elizabeth had very few things she could truly call her own. The palaces, the jewels, the estates, none of it was really hers personally. But her nickname Lilibet, the name her grandfather gave her as a child, was something deeply personal and private. It carried decades of memories and meant everything to her. And Meghan knew exactly what she was doing when she named her daughter Lilibet. The Queen was reportedly so distressed that she told aides, "The one thing I own is my name, and now they have taken that too." A woman who gave her entire life to duty and service, and Meghan could not even leave her with her own name. And then, to make it worse, Meghan kept promoting the name publicly and made several shady moves around trademarking it. Not a single apology, not a moment of reflection, just Meghan doing what Meghan does.
That the late Queen told aides after the Sussexes, that's Meghan and Harry, chose the name Lilibet for their daughter. I don't own the palaces or the paintings, only my name. And now they've taken that.
I know that's an incredibly sad comment. And I think one of the reasons was that it was discovered that Meghan, even before Lilibet was born, had taken out the names officially so that she could use them to buy things, to identify them.
This HRH title is what is bringing Meghan money at this time, so dropping it would be impossible. You may even think of it like this. She married into the royal family because of the HRH title. So when the Queen said they should drop it as part of the 2020 departure agreement, Harry and Meghan pretended in good faith that they would drop it and that they wouldn't be using it. But in the back of their minds, that was impossible because they needed it to survive.
Meghan Markle, she's sparked more outrage after publishing a message addressing herself as Your Royal Highness, despite her and Harry having agreed to stop using their royal titles after they quit the royal family and left the United Kingdom. What's going on here? You can't have these titles if you're not going to put in the work, if you're not going to be a working royal.
Later reports showed that Meghan was using HRH on items like gift cards and even when delivering gifts to people. This was a huge slap in the face to that agreement. But now Meghan doesn't care. All she cares about is how to make money for survival.
Harry and Meghan are the new Fergie and Andrew. They cheapen the crown. The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness, I guess. But I do not think that Meghan Markle should be utilizing the title. I think that this is just her way of trying to remind the world that she, for 18 months, was a royal.
During one of their first royal engagements together, the Queen was gracious enough to invite Meghan to travel with her on the royal train. A genuine gesture of warmth and inclusion from a woman who did not have to do any of it. But when the event ended and it was time to leave, Meghan walked ahead of the Queen and got into the vehicle first. Now, this might sound small to an outsider, but in royal protocol, it is anything but small. Nobody precedes the monarch. nobody walks ahead of the Queen. It is one of the most basic and fundamental rules of royal etiquette, and Meghan broke it on one of her very first outings. Whether it was ignorance or simply not caring is a question only Meghan can answer. But either way, the message it sent was not a good one. The Queen personally funded a significant portion of Harry and Meghan's wedding. It was a massive royal occasion that cost a fortune, and the entire institution was behind it. And in return, Meghan refused to show the Queen her wedding dress beforehand, something that was a long-standing royal tradition and a basic courtesy. Elizabeth Anson, a close cousin of the Queen, revealed this to biographer Sally Bedell Smith, and the details stopped people in their tracks. The Queen, who was paying for the whole thing, was reportedly saddened and anxious in the lead-up to the wedding. Not because of nerves or excitement, but because the woman her grandson was marrying could not extend even the smallest gesture of respect toward her. You are spending someone's money on your wedding, and you cannot show them the dress. Only Meghan. And even in death, the Queen could not escape Meghan's disrespect. On the second anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2024, the royal family was quietly marking the occasion with solemnity and reflection. The world was remembering one of the most significant monarchs in history, and Meghan, she showed up at an Oprah Book Club event, smiling, networking, and making headlines for herself on the eve of a day the royals were mourning. No acknowledgement of the anniversary, no moment of reflection, no gesture of respect toward the woman whose family she married into, just Meghan doing what Meghan does best. Making every single day, including someone else's death anniversary, about herself. Everybody loved and respected the Queen, but it seems that to Meghan, she was just another woman who was old and advanced in age and shouldn't be taken seriously. Before the wedding to Harry, the Queen tried to intervene in the fallout between Meghan Markle and her father, Thomas Markle. She even went to the extent of directing courtiers to help manage the fallout between the two. But instead of receiving a positive message from the courtier, she received a report from Meghan telling the Queen that she didn't want her intervention, that she would handle it herself, and that she didn't need the palace to do what she could do herself. She didn't even engage with the palace's approach in this matter. And this one might be the most disrespectful of them all. The Queen knew Meghan was new to royal life, so she personally offered her guidance to help her settle in. A sitting monarch going out of her way to make you feel welcome. Meghan brushed it off completely. Did not want it, did not need it, moved on. The Queen was reportedly stunned. And sources say she could not help but think of Sophie, who embraced every bit of guidance offered to her without a second thought. Same family, two completely different women. One earned the Queen's deepest trust, the other dismissed her entirely.
But in a new interview with the Sunday Times, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, recalls trying to help Meghan navigate her public struggle with the royal family. She tells the outlet, quote, "We all try to help any new member of the family."
This was one of the biggest bombshells of all. The Queen was reportedly blindsided when Meghan and Harry announced their decision to step back as senior royals on Instagram. No private discussion, no courtesy to the monarch, just a global spectacle for the world to dissect. For the Queen, who valued discretion and respect above all, this was a massive betrayal. Royal insiders revealed that the Queen was not given advance notice of the public announcement and was reportedly hurt and disappointed.
And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option.
They both lose their official links to the Queen's Commonwealth Trust and the Association of Commonwealth Universities. Meghan will no longer be patron of the Royal National Theatre.
The Queen convened a meeting, not just as the Queen, but as a mother who didn't want to see her children separate. She was personally trying to resolve the Megxit terms, This was a crisis-level family sit-down with Charles, William, and Harry. But do you know what Meghan tried to do at such a crucial time? She decided that she wouldn't be having time for the Queen. Instead, she would do something convenient, which was to phone in. If this isn't disrespect, I don't know what to call it. All the top royal members were seated, and the next thing on your mind is to phone in. The Queen called for the summit, but she didn't come. She just brushed it off like it wasn't necessary. It became clear at that moment that she had made up her mind to leave, and she would leave, no matter what. Queen cherished the Christmas season, and she didn't want anyone to ruin that, not even Meghan. She had one unshakable rule, which was Sandringham with the family. But Harry and Meghan broke that royal script more than once. In 2019, instead of joining the Queen at her beloved Norfolk estate, the couple chose to have a private break in Canada with baby Archie. Meghan didn't even think about how the Queen would feel about this. She still went ahead with the trip with Archie. Seeing that this hurt the Queen, the royal family had to mask it, and they put a polite line about them enjoying family time. But behind the scenes, this wasn't what was happening. It raised eyebrows. This was disrespectful, as royals rarely skipped Sandringham unless there was illness or official duty, and Meghan's absence especially fueled whispers that she wasn't willing to play by the Queen's rules. Some courtiers even said that it was a quiet act of rebellion, snubbing the Queen's most sacred family gathering in favor of their own freedom. Forget about the royalty. I think it is common sense to spend Christmas with your grandparents and extended family, but Harry did not spend a single Christmas with the Queen after he got married. At Princess Eugenie's wedding to Jack Brooksbank, Queen Elizabeth led the royal family out of St. George's Chapel to see the newlyweds off. Everyone else followed the usual order of precedence, moving gracefully down the steps just as tradition demanded. But not Harry and Meghan. Instead of respecting the Queen's lead, they deliberately lingered close to her, clearly angling for photographers to capture them standing right beside Her Majesty. The Queen first asked them to move down the line, but they didn't budge, pretending to look around for the carriage. She asked a second time. Harry can be seen telling Meghan that they should, but they just moved one step and ignored the Queen's order. By the third request, the Queen's patience had worn thin. She firmly told Harry and Meghan to step aside, and only then did they reluctantly shuffle down the line. Obviously, Meghan didn't like it, and her face looked like she was holding back her tears. But both of them should have known that the Queen should not have had to tell them to do something 3 times. And this one takes the disrespect to a whole new level. On April 21st, 2026, the entire world paused to honor what would have been Queen Elizabeth's 100th birthday. King Charles was paying tribute to his mother. Senior royals were unveiling commemorative coins. And Meghan, she launched 2 $64 candles named after her children using their full royal titles. Now remember, Meghan named her daughter Lilibet, the same deeply personal nickname the Queen had carried since childhood. Many people already believed that was a deliberate move. And now, with a candle bearing that same name launched on the Queen's 100th birthday, the timing felt less like a coincidence and more like a calculated statement. The internet called it psychopathic. One person on Reddit wrote that it is 100% about trolling the royal family on the Queen's birthday. She does not care if she sells a single candle. And honestly, looking at the timing, it is very hard to disagree.
She's released a candle. I'm sure you will be glad to hear it. It's going for 48 quid, or that's 96 Australian dollars, if you can bear to punt up your money for it.
These were 13 times when Meghan Markle publicly disrespected Queen Elizabeth II. Which one do you think was the worst? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.